Hi guys, it's Matthew here. Welcome back to another video on my channel today. And in today's video, guys, I thought it might be kind of fun since it's been a while since I've done one, to do a DreamWorks, animated, tier list, as a matter of fact. I thought this might be a fun video to do it has been a while, since, since I've done one, as a matter of fact. So I thought it might be kind of fun to do this one, as a matter of fact. I have seen every single DreamWorks animation movie, based on when I did this video last, as a matter of fact. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section, guys. What is your least favorite and what is your favorite DreamWorks animated movie, as a matter of fact? There's gonna be, like, I could probably guess, you guys are gonna say, there's gonna be three options that I'm gonna guess on which one is your favorite, though, but be sure you subscribe to the channel, press that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future, and I do more than just movies and physical media related content. I also do LEGO related stuff, and I play video games, so if you guys like to watch anything like that on YouTube, be sure to go check out my channel, because there will definitely be something in there for you to enjoy, as a matter of fact, guys. But with that said, though, guys, let's get started here. And as far as I know, these are theatrical. All these are theatrical theater releases. So these are not the direct to video movies at all. So, and as far as I know, none of these movies, these ones are not movies that went straight to streaming. So Chicken Run 2 Dawn of the Nugget is not on here. Even though that was a good movie, it's not a theatrical release here, as a matter of fact. But yeah, so we're gonna, so starting off here, and these are all in chronological order, I think, as far as I could tell. But we're starting with DreamWorks' first movie, Ants, and Ants immediately goes in the bad tier, for me, as a matter of fact. I forgot to mention the tiers. So we have best of the best, great, good, okay, meh, bad, awful, and not out yet, which one specific movie will go on that tier, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I am not a fan of Ants. I'm sure this movie has its fans, but unfortunately, I am not one of them. This movie is not well made. The animation in this movie is not well done at all, as a matter of fact, and in my personal opinion, it's easily one of the worst DreamWorks movies for me personally. Next up on our list, we have The Prince of Egypt. So this is gonna be my first hot take, guys. I am actually gonna stick this in the meh tier. I know a lot of you guys really like Prince of Egypt, but unfortunately, I am not one of the people that really likes Prince of Egypt. I was actually not entertained by this movie, like, at all. It's not one that I go back and rewatch all that often. Actually, I only watched like half of this movie and then I turned it off because I was actually not intrigued by this movie. But I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, but it's more of a like mediocre kind of movie, as a matter of fact. So yeah, it's only going in the meh tier for me. I'm sorry for you guys that are fans of this movie. Next up on our list, we have The Road to El Dorado, and I actually have only seen this movie one time, and based on what I remember about that movie, I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed it a little bit, so I'm definitely gonna put it on the okay tier. I think this is one that I need to like rewatch to see if my opinion has changed on this movie, as a matter of fact, because I do remember watching it and having a good time with it, but I do remember thinking that it's not like the greatest movie, but for the most part it's okay. It's not bad. It is what it is. All right. Now we come to Chicken Run, as a matter of fact. So this is the first of the collaborations with Aardman, as a matter of fact. And Chicken Run is an easy great tier for me, as a matter of fact. I grew up. I actually grew up with most of these movies on this list. I grew up watching them as a toddler, and basically Chicken Run was one that I watched like all the time. As I've gotten older, though, it hasn't been like one of my like absolute favorite movies, but that doesn't mean it's not a great movie, because it is. It's a great and fun movie, and to be honest, I would probably say that this might be my favorite of the Aardman stuff, if you were to ask me. Next up, we have Shrek. And this is not going to be any surprise. Of course, Shrek is an easy best of the best tier. Who doesn't like Shrek? Do I even have to list off why this movie is fantastic? No, I don't, because we all know what Shrek is. It's a funny and fun movie, as a matter of fact, and it deserves a spot in best of the best, and it's probably not going to be at the top of my list. It's probably not going to be at the top of this list, but it's going to be pretty damn close, though, because Shrek is a great movie, as a matter of fact. Alright, next up on our list, we have Spirit. And this is going to be another wild hot take, guys, but excuse me, I am actually going to stick that one in the meh tier, because just like Prince of Egypt, I only watched like half of this movie and then I turned it off because I thought it was boring. This wasn't a movie that really intrigued me, and it's not one that I will ever care to watch again. But still, yeah, this is not one I will ever watch again. I thought it was boring. I wasn't entertained by it. I was not intrigued by the story at all. All right. Next up on our list, we have Sinbad, The Legend of the Seven Seas, I think is what this movie is called. And this when this movie first dropped, I actually heard this movie did so bad for DreamWorks that it almost put them under, and I'm glad they didn't, because if they went under, the only two good DreamWorks movies, in my opinion, that we wouldn't have had is Chicken Run and Shrek, as a matter of fact. So I'm happy they didn't go under, as a matter of fact. But and I heard a lot of mixed things about this movie, and personally, it's kind of the black sheep of DreamWorks, but personally, I'm going to stick it with the Road to El Dorado. I think it's good enough, and it's okay, though, but it's not one that I would personally watch again, though. Next up on our list, we have Shrek 2. So now, I know a lot of you guys really like Shrek 2, and a lot of you people adore Shrek 1, and you think Shrek 2 is the best of the franchise. And I get why people like Shrek 2, but personally, it's never been like one of my it's never been one of my personal favorite movies in the Shrek franchise, but I've this is a movie that I've actually have never disliked. Um it is better than most of the DreamWorks sequels, I will say, because this movie is definitely better than the second Madagascar, and I would say it's a little bit better. It's I want to say the second How to Train Your Dragon is better than Shrek 2, but personally, in my personal opinion, this movie is an easy good tier, as a matter of fact. Like I said, it's never been my personal favorite of the Shrek movies, but it's one that I never thought was bad by any means whatsoever. All right. Next up on our list, we have Shark Tale. Shark Tale. So now this is another movie that everybody does not like. It's it's kind of fun, as a matter of fact. I actually have a good time with it. It's not like a great or an outstanding movie by any means. I will give you guys that, but I actually get a lot of enjoyment out of this movie. So, with that said, I am actually gonna have to stick this in the good tier because I really do like the entire voice cast. I really do think they add to the charm of this movie a lot. And it's one that I'm kind of glad they didn't plan on doing a sequel to. I think this movie should have been a one and a done, and for good reason, because not everybody enjoyed this movie, but I personally liked it and had a good time with it as well. Ooh, next up, we come to Madagascar, the first one. This one is easily going into the best tier for me, as a matter of fact. So now, like I said, I grew up with a good chunk of these movies, and I actually grew up watching the second the Madagascar franchise and the Shrek movies. And basically, the first installments to both of these movies are fantastic. And I really do like Madagascar, and the entire voice cast in this movie is pretty good as well, as a matter of fact. And yeah, I've been kind of hoping that they would do a fourth movie or something, but there has been no official announcements that they are doing another Madagascar, and I'm hoping that they'll do a fourth one, as a matter of fact. Now we come to Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I'm just crackers about cheese. I can't really do Wallace's voice, but Wallace and Gromit is another collaboration with Aardman, and this is an easy another great tier, as a matter of fact. All the Aardman films are pretty good, as a matter of fact, in my opinion. And all the ones that DreamWorks did are pretty good as well. And and if you guys grew up in the UK, or if you live in the UK, you guys probably know who Wallace and Gromit are, because I actually heard they're pretty big characters over there, as a matter of fact. And I'm not I'm not shocked because Wallace and Gromit does take place in the UK somewhere, and Wallace is basically a British guy, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I really do like Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. It is an easy great tier for me. Next up, we have Over the Hedge. Over the Hedge, I actually think is an underrated gem, as a matter of fact. This was another one that I grew up watching all the time, as a matter of fact. We have our main lead, RJ, that's voiced by Bruce Willis. And then you have Steve Carell voicing the squirrel Hammy, and the bad guy, and then the big bad black bear Vincent is voiced by Nick Nolte, and the possum Ozzy is actually voiced by William Shatner. And this is a great movie in my opinion. And basically I'm going to have to put this one in best of the best. Just because I grew up watching it so many times, and I watched it all the time when I was younger, and it just takes me back, as a matter of fact. So far, we haven't had any movies in the bad tier. Ants is the only one that I pretty much have in the bad tier so far. It's probably the worst DreamWorks movie that I have ever talked about on the channel, as a matter of fact. Now we have Flushed Away, and like I said, a lot of the Aardman films are great. No matter, usually when you talk about like Aardman films, I'm gonna put it in the middle of great right there. Usually when you talk about Aardman films, in my personal opinion, all of the Aardman films are great. And Flushed Away is actually right there, right near with Chicken Run, as like my favorite Aardman movie, as a matter of fact. And same thing with the new Wallace and Gromit movie that just came out on Netflix. I actually thought that was a great comeback to the Wallace and Gromit universe, as a matter of fact. So I would say that one, Flushed Away, and Chicken Run are neck and neck with the best sorry guys, I can't speak right now. With the best Aardman films, as a matter of fact. So yeah, Flushed Away is a pretty great movie in my opinion. Next up on our list, we have Shrek the Third. A lot of people hate this movie, and I mean a lot of people hate this movie. And in my personal opinion, guys, before we had Puss in Boots: The Last Wish before Puss in Boots: The Last Wish came out, I actually have said that this movie is my second favorite of the Shrek franchise. So, and I know a lot of you guys hate this movie, but let me explain why I don't have the biggest attachment to Shrek 2. Is because the two Shrek movies that I watched all the time growing up and when I was a kid was the first Shrek and Shrek the Third. I didn't watch Shrek 2 quite as much. I still think Shrek 2 is a good movie, but I don't have like this big attachment to it like I do with the first and the third. And I get why you guys love this movie, why you guys love Shrek 2, but I don't get the hatred towards Shrek the Third, as a matter of fact. It is If we were to exclude Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, this would be my second favorite of the franchise, and so therefore I have to put it in best of the best. As a matter of fact, it's another great movie in my opinion. All right, next up on our list we have the Bee Movie. This movie, this is another one that I think is a little underrated because I actually get a lot of enjoyment out of this movie, and this is another underrated gem in my opinion, and so I am gonna have to stick this one in the good tier. I like Shark Tale a little bit more, but I get enjoyment out of the Bee Movie, and I do not get why people don't like this movie. I get it. Once again, just like Shark Tale, I agree. This is not like a great or like an outstanding movie, but I still I still think they're good in their own way, and I get guilty pleasure out of them. But I don't think they're like bad movies necessarily. And and for some of these movies, I think they need to cut back on the hatred. As a matter of fact. Next up, we have Kung Fu Panda, and Kung Fu Panda is an easy is another easy best of the best for me. I think I'm gonna stick you right in the middle there, as a matter of fact, because you are just as good as the first Madagascar and the first Shrek. And Kung Fu Panda is a great movie, as a matter of fact. And personally, I'm hoping that they'll do a fifth Kung Fu Panda movie, as a matter of fact, because I actually think all of the Kung Fu Panda movies are great. I actually think Kung Fu Panda is the only franchise that DreamWorks has where they've never really done like a single bad movie, in my personal opinion. All right, next up we have Madagascar 2, and I said earlier when I was talking about the Shrek and the Madagascar franchise, I do not like Madagascar 2 as much as the first one. I actually think that this movie is a step down from the first one, and this movie often goes below Shrek 2 for me. And yeah, some people think that this movie is better than the first one, and it's even better than the third. Actually, some people even say Madagascar 3 is the worst of the Madagascar movies, and they even think that the second one is at least better than the third one. But in my personal opinion, the second Madagascar has never been my favorite of these movies, and personally, um, the and personally this movie, for some reason, I wouldn't say this movie hasn't aged well, but it's a movie that I like a little bit less every time I watch it. But I want to put this movie on the good tier. Just yeah, I am gonna put this movie on the good tier, just because it's not like an okay sort of level like El Dorado and Sinbad are. Ooh, now we come to Monsters versus Aliens, as a matter of fact. This is this is actually one of my favorite animated movies of all time. I am sticking you Monsters vs. Aliens right up in best of the best. I wish you got a sequel. You are a very underrated movie. Lots of people don't give you enough credit. More people need to watch this movie because it is great. It is fantastic. You have an all-star voice cast in this movie, and I will never understand the hate this movie gets because you have Reese Witherspoon in this movie. You have Seth Rogen in this movie. Even Will Arnett, Rainn Wilson even voices the villain in this movie. Hugh Laurie even gets a little bit. Even gets a part in here, and even Paul Rudd is in this movie. Um, and Ed Helms voices a cameo in this movie. Same thing with John Krasinski and Renee Zellweger. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. It is one of my favorite animated movies, period. And again, this is an underrated gem. I don't get why people don't like this movie. It needs to be loved on a little bit more. I will never understand the criticism that this movie gets. Next up on our list, we have How to Train Your Dragon. So now, I don't love the How to Train Your Dragon movies nearly as much as some of you other folks do, but I do think they're great movies nonetheless. As a matter of fact, these are movies that I would put higher if I agreed with you guys a little bit more, and if I loved them as much as you. But unfortunately, I don't. I still think the How to Train Your Dragon movies are great, but they're not quite like best of the best level for me. So I am gonna stick the first How to Train Your Dragon behind the Aardman films in the great tier because I still think it's a great movie. Like I said, I want to put this movie higher, but I can't. So it's only gonna get in the great. I think they're great movies, but they're just not quite like best of the best for me. All right. Next up on our list, we have Shrek Forever After. So now with this movie in particular, if you guys have followed me for any determined amount of time on the channel, you guys will probably know that this movie specifically is my least favorite of the Shrek movies. I have actually grown to think this is a good movie, but it's still by far my least favorite of the Shrek movies of the last time I watched them. As a matter of fact, it's still a good movie nonetheless, but it is definitely in my opinion the worst of the Shrek movies. So this one is easily gonna go in the good tier. Like I said, it's the weakest Shrek movie, but it still has its charm in my opinion. All right. Next up is Megamind. This is another great movie in my personal opinion. This movie has to do with superheroes, and you guys know me. I enjoy superhero movies, and this is an easy win for me, as a matter of fact. So I'm actually going to stick this one at the top of great, as a matter of fact, because I do think this is a great movie, and I kind of wish this movie did get a sequel. Well, it technically did, but I actually did not watch it when it released on streaming because I've heard nothing but terrible things about that. And I 100% agree with you guys. This movie, we should have gotten like a theatrical sequel. We should have gotten like a better sequel, and one that most people would probably appreciate more, as a matter of fact. So yeah, it's okay though. All right. Next up on our list, we have Kung Fu Panda 2, as a matter of fact, and I am actually gonna stick it. I am actually gonna stick it um um right next to the first one and best of the best. I like I like Kung Fu Panda 2 a little bit lesser than the first one. They're like right next to each other, but they're pretty damn close. And I don't have anything negative to say to Kung Fu Panda 2. It is a great movie. The first two movies are, but we will get to the other ones later, as a matter of fact. And like I said, I'm praying that they'll do a Shrek 5. If any of you guys are watching this video, you need to do a Shrek 5. DreamWorks, give us a Shrek 5. I'm at a Kung Fu Panda 5. We're getting a Shrek 5 already. Give us a Kung Fu Panda 5. As a matter of fact, I think a fifth Kung Fu Panda movie is deserving. All right. Next up, we have the last Shrek movie for a while, or the last of the Shrek universe until we get to the next movie, and that is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And this is probably the weakest of the Shrek universe movies that we've gotten, but I like this one a little bit better than Shrek Forever After, as a matter of fact. So in that case, I'm gonna stick this one right there on the good tier, because I do think a good chunk of the Shrek movies are good, but I think the weakest two are the first Puss in Boots and Shrek Forever After, as a matter of fact. So next up we have Rise of the Guardians. So now, I really like this movie, and I actually heard when this movie came out, it bombed at the box office, and everybody was saying that it deserves so much more than it did. And I like the whole concept of this movie, because you have Jack Frost, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. You have like all of these holiday figures, and you're bringing them together Avengers style to take down their arch nemesis, as a matter of fact. Just like in Avengers Infinity War, you have all the Marvel superheroes teaming up to take down Thanos, as a matter of fact. And that's the case with any Avengers movie. And basically, I really like this movie. And this movie is actually going to go on the good tier for me personally. I like you more than Puss in Boots, but not more than Shrek 2, just because I have a little bit more nostalgia attached to Shrek 2. I'm going to put you right there. All right, next up on our list, we have Madagascar 3. So now, this is another one that's going in best of the best. I am actually going to put it above the first Madagascar, because, in my opinion, the second Madagascar, not the second Madagascar, the third Madagascar is is the best of the Madagascar movies. And and I actually don't get why some people say this is the weakest Madagascar movie. I'm sitting here scratching my head and I'm all like, no, this is the best of the franchise. This one should be neck and neck with the first one. And I feel like this is the one that's like the most funny. Um is like the most funny in the franchise. I like all like these new characters that we get introduced to. As a matter of fact, yeah, I really do enjoy the third Madagascar. All right. Next up on our list, we have The Croods. The Croods is another easy great tier movie, as a matter of fact. So I'm gonna stick you above Megamind because you deserve to be at the top of great. I actually think The Croods is a really good movie. As a matter of fact, I actually think the both of these movies are solid. We'll talk about the second one later. As a matter of fact, but yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they would announce a third movie by now. But basically, I'm kind of impressed with the two that we have right now, and I'm really hoping that they'll do another Croods movie, as a matter of fact. And it definitely and I feel like both of the Croods movies are pretty underrated, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about them as much as they should. Next up, we have Turbo. So now this one is on the borderlines with Shark Tale and the Bee Movie. These are like, to be honest, Shark Tale, the Bee Movie, and Turbo are the major three DreamWorks movies that are way overhated, in my opinion. And I sometimes I even feel like people say they're the three worst DreamWorks movies, in my opinion. And personally, I don't think that, as a matter of fact. So I am actually going to stick this right next to the B Movie, on the good tier, as a matter of fact, because I think Turbo is a good movie, but it's not. But again, I agree, it's not outstanding or anything, but it is a good movie to watch for some laughs, though, in my personal opinion. All right, next up on our list is Mr. Peabody and Sherman. It's about a young boy that has a dog as a father, and they travel back in time to explore like all these historical figures and all the events that happened throughout the world. As a matter of fact, this is an underrated gem. As a matter of fact, even though that it's like scientific, I am. I kind of learned a little bit from like all these like past historical figures. Like it helped me learn more about Leonardo da Vinci, and and it made me learn who Marie Antoinette was, King Tutankhamun, like all of these historical figures that have passed away so many years ago. They actually turned it into like a time travel movie, and it helped me learn more about history. As a matter of fact, I don't own this movie on disc. I kind of feel like I should, though, because I really do enjoy this movie, and this is an easy great tier for me. I can't quite put you above the Croods, but you're going pretty high in the great tier, though. Next up on our list, we have How to Train Your Dragon 2. And this is another one that I'm going to stick on the great tier, but where on the great tier is the question? I'm gonna have to put it at the top of the great tier. So I said a little bit ago, I don't quite nearly love the How to Train Your Dragon movies as much as most of you do, but I do think they are great movies at least. But like I said, they're not quite like best of the best level for me, but they're still pretty good movies overall. And and again, the hatred, not the hatred. I actually think that these movies are pretty great, but I don't love them like nearly as much as you guys do. But they're still good movies nonetheless. All right. Next up on our list, we have The Penguins of Madagascar. So now, I actually think the first and the third Madagascar are the two best. We only have four Madagascar movies if you count The Penguins of Madagascar, and I'm going to stick this one right there on the good tier, as a matter of fact. So now, I can't speak right now, guys. I'm sorry. I really do not like The Penguins of Madagascar and Madagascar 2 as much as the first and the third Madagascar. I actually think the first and the third Madagascar are much better, and I actually kind of wish that they would do a fourth movie to redeem the franchise a little bit, because I don't like the second movie or the Penguins of Madagascar as much. The Penguins of Madagascar, I actually got more enjoyment out of than the second movie, so I give it some points for that, so it could be higher up. But still, the first and the third Madagascar, I think, are better, in my personal opinion. Next up, we have Home. This is another gem. This is another underrated gem in my eyes, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, I am going to stick this one... on the good tier, as a matter of fact. So now, I know a lot of you guys... this is another underrated gem, because I feel like not a lot of people give this movie enough credit, and I actually think it's kind of cute, as a matter of fact. You have Jim Parsons voicing this main alien, and then you have this main girl voiced by Rihanna, as a matter of fact. And yes, I think that this movie is pretty great. It is pretty good, but again, it's very underrated, in my opinion. All right, next up on our list, we have Kung Fu Panda 3, as a matter of fact. And this is an easy best of the best here. And in my personal opinion, it is my favorite of the Kung Fu Panda movies. Mainly because we follow Po through this entire journey through the first two films, as a matter of fact, and whenever we see flashbacks with Po, we see him going through through his mom, and why his mom left him there, as a matter of fact. And in this particular movie, we finally get to see him find his biological family, as a matter of fact. And to be honest, I am happy that they did a third movie and not a prequel to the first Kung Fu Panda at all, because we didn't really need a prequel, because just based off of the first two movies alone, we kind of already knew Poe's backstory. But 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 I feel like what needed to cap off after the first two movies was we need to see Poe like find his biological father and the family that he was born with. And that's what the third one did. It gave us the moment that we were waiting for with Poe, and they didn't do a prequel to ruin this franchise. They did a third movie to cap the first two movies off perfectly. But the fourth Kung Fu Panda movie we will talk about here in a minute once we get to that, as a matter of fact. Next up on our list, we have the first Trolls. I don't know where I want to put the first two Trolls, because we have another two movies to put on this list, and I don't know if they're going to be like... You know what? I'm going to have to put the first Trolls on the good tier, as a matter of fact. I really do like the first Trolls. I actually think it's a fun movie, because you have like all of these like iconic pop songs put into like a musical movie created by DreamWorks Animation Studios, as a matter of fact, and I really do like what they did with this movie. I actually think it's a pretty good movie. What they did with this movie was also very well done, as a matter of fact. And yes, this is easily a movie that I think is worthy of doing a fourth movie for. I'm not so sure what they would do exactly, but I would not mind seeing a fourth Trolls movie, as a matter of fact. All right, next up on our list, we have The Boss Baby. So now, I actually think The Boss Baby is pretty funny. This is another case scenario where I think it's an underrated gem, but it's not like one of my favorites or like an outstanding movie by any means whatsoever. But this is definitely a movie that I will have to stick in the good tier, because I just get so much enjoyment out of this movie, as a matter of fact. I think just because Home has a more solid story, I think I'm gonna have to put it above Home a little bit. Next up on our list, we have Captain Underpants, and I think, personally, I'm going to have to stick this in the great tier. I think I'm going to put you above How to Train Your Dragon 2 right there. I really like the first Captain Underpants, and I feel like sometimes people don't give it enough credit, because I really do like all the potty humor that's put into this movie. I actually do think that this movie is really funny. And you have Kevin Hart in this movie. I can't remember the guy's name that voices Harold, but you have Ed Helms voicing the principal and Captain Underpants. And then you have Nick Kroll voicing the villain, Professor Poopy Pants. Yeah, I get a lot of enjoyment out of this movie. And I feel like this movie deserves more credit than what people give it for, as a matter of fact. I say that a lot in these videos, guys, but it just helps me get my point across better, and it's just my go-to word to use. Alright, next up on our list, we have How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. It is in the title, as a matter of fact. And this one is definitely my favorite of the How to Train Your Dragon movies. And I said, I don't love these movies nearly as much as most of you people do, but specifically, How to Train, How to Train Your Dragon is the best movie in 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 the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, as a matter of fact, because I love how this trilogy wraps up so perfectly. You get the introduction of like a new Light Fury, as a matter of fact. I think I heard at one point that they were gonna do like a How to Train Your Dragon 4, but we're getting a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie. I don't know if they're ever gonna do another one, but I do think How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World was capped off perfectly, though. Abominable. Another underrated gem, in my opinion. I'm gonna stick this one above The Penguins of Madagascar, but I can't quite put it above Rise of the Guardians. But yeah, I really do like the second Abominable movie. I actually do not understand why this movie is so underrated. This movie deserves more credit. It deserves more love. It is a very cute movie, in my opinion, and this movie definitely needs more credit, as a matter of fact. And I feel like more people need to talk about this movie, though. Next up on our list, we have Trolls World Tour. And to be honest, I actually own all three of the Trolls movies in my collection. And I enjoy all three of them pretty much the same, but I actually think Trolls World Tour is a better movie, as a matter of fact. And a big reason because of that, I like how they were able to follow this up with the sequel, but instead of going back to like just focusing like on the Pop Trolls and the Bergens, what I really like about this movie is that the Pop Trolls are not the only trolls out there. You have more trolls out there for the different kinds of music, and I like how they incorporated rock music into this, and I really do think Trolls World Tour is a pretty fun movie, but it's not quite like an outstanding movie for me personally, as a matter of fact. Next up on our list, we have Croods: A New Age, and this is going right next to the first one on the great tier here, as a matter of fact. Depending on my mood or depending on the day, I would say the second one is better or the first one's better. They go back and forth quite frequently, as a matter of fact, and I kind of feel like they should do a third Croods movie to see if that would give me like a final decision on which Croods movie I prefer more, as a matter of fact, because I think that would help me like a lot to make a decision. And for some reason they have not announced a third Croods movie. I kind of feel like they should do another one to make it a trilogy, as a matter of fact. Next up on our list, we have Spirit Untamed. So now, I know a lot of you guys do not care for this movie, and I mean a lot of you guys do not care for this movie, and personally, I actually think it's a good movie. It's going behind Shrek 4, as a matter of fact. I really like. I enjoyed Spirit Untamed for what it delivered. I might be a little bit biased because Jake Gyllenhaal actually gets a part in this movie, and I really do think that this movie is pretty good for what it delivers, as a matter of fact. And personally, I just had more enjoyment with this movie, and I actually got through this movie all the way through. And I said earlier, the I did not like the first Spirit that like at all. I actually thought it was boring, in my opinion. But this movie in particular, I actually enjoyed. Next up on our list, we have The Boss Baby, and like I said, I like the kid humor that goes into Captain Underpants, and that's why I like The Boss Baby, as well. And I actually think the second Boss Baby, The Boss Baby Family Business, is a pretty good movie, and I wouldn't say it's. I probably just like the second Kung Fu Panda. I think I like it a little bit less than the first one, but they're still both pretty good, and I like them pretty much the same, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I like both of the Boss Baby movies. I actually think they're underrated, and audiences are not real fond of these movies. And personally, I really like the Boss Baby Family Business, and the first Boss Baby is pretty good as well, as a matter of fact. And the Boss Baby is voiced by Alec Baldwin, as a matter of fact. And basically, I'm kind of thinking that there is a possibility that they could do a third film, but I will not be shocked if it doesn't ever happen, because these movies do not get positive reviews. But personally, I give them positive reviews because I enjoy them for the most part. All right. Now we have The Bad Guys. This is the second movie that DreamWorks released post-COVID. The Boss Baby Family Business was the first one that DreamWorks put out post-COVID, as a matter of fact. So yeah. I enjoy The Bad Guys, as a matter of fact. The Bad Guys is a great movie, and you are. Can I put this movie in best of the best? I don't know if I want to put it in best of the best. You know what? I think I'm going to put you at the top of the great tier for now, as a matter of fact. I loved The Bad Guys. My mom actually took me to see this movie, and this movie was pretty great. And we are getting a sequel later this year, and I am hyped. Give me that second movie. The Bad Guys is a good movie. It's a fun movie. We even got like a Halloween short for this movie, Haunted Heist. And there was a Christmas short that they did on Netflix. I didn't get around to watching it this year, so I'm waiting till next year, as a matter of fact, in 2025, to watch it. But yes, I enjoyed The Bad Guys. I am pumped. I am pumped for that sequel. And yes, The Bad Guys is a fun movie. It's a great movie, and I am pleased with the amount of fandom that The Bad Guys got. Okay, next up on our list, we have Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and you guys all know this. This is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was a fantastic movie, as a matter of fact. The Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was a great animated movie. And this movie in particular, it deserves more praise, and it is a great movie, and yes, I am happy that they did a sequel to the first Puss in Boots, because this movie was so much better than its predecessor, and based on how that movie ended, it is gonna tie into Shrek 5, and I'm all like, give it to me. We're getting a Shrek 5. I cannot wait to see a another Shrek movie in this franchise. We're finally getting Shrek 5, and I am damn near excited for it, as a matter of fact. I need that movie now. I needed that movie yesterday. All right, next up we have Ruby Gilman, I think is the name of this movie. And to be completely honest, this movie is awful. I did not like this movie at all whatsoever. I thought the animation in this movie was terrible. The storyline in this movie wasn't very good. Basically, there's nothing really I liked about this movie. At least Ants had some redeeming quality to it, and I sat through Ants all the way through. This movie isn't. This movie isn't very good, and to be honest, this movie had no redeeming quality, and it's pretty darn awful if you were to ask me. Next up we have Trolls Band Together, and this is actually my favorite out of the Trolls movies, as a matter of fact. And personally, I like how this movie ties in to some of the stories that we got told from the first two Trolls movies, because we actually finally get to meet Poppy's sister. As a matter of fact, we finally get to see Bridget and King Crystal get married, like the first one suggested. Since the second one wasn't really about the Bergens, and I kind of figured if they were to do a third Trolls movie that were to happen. And yes, and I really do like how we got more backstory on Trolls Band Together, as a matter of fact. All three of these movies are pretty good in my opinion, and they are definitely fun to watch. All the catchy music is fun to watch as well, as a matter of fact. So yes, this deserves the all three of those movies are well deserved, as a matter of fact. Oh boy. Oh great. Here we go. Here we go. We have Odin in the Dark, or whatever whatchamacallit. This is the worst movie DreamWorks Animation has ever made, in my personal opinion. I said earlier, Ants is the worst DreamWorks movie that I have talked about on this channel. But the worst DreamWorks movie that I have watched is hands down Odin in the Dark. And this boy is voiced by Jacob Tremblay, a child actor from 2018 and 19. And he was a good actor during both of those years. But then after COVID, I'm all like, what is this guy doing? As a matter of fact, it just feels like he's just voicing some different animated characters for no good reason other than to make money. It just feels like this. Jacob Tremblay is 18 years old. He's graduating from high school, but he still wants to act and go to college at the same time. So it feels like I think the best way to do this is to make him voice characters in a bunch of cheap animated movies, so that way we can make some money and he can make some money off of his acting career. That that's what this movie felt like. It's not good. It's dull and boring, and it's awful. As a matter of fact, there's another movie that I could have sworn that he voiced another character in, and I want to say I don't remember which movie that was, but he voiced in another really cheap animated movie, as a matter of fact. Like, the only good movie that he's pretty much done, in my opinion, is when he voiced Flounder in the live action Little Mermaid. That's the only good voicing thing. The only good thing that he is portrayed as like a good voice actor. This movie is terrible, and I don't know why they even made this. Apparently, this movie got a theatrical release. I did not know it did because I watched this movie off of Netflix, and I thought it was a Netflix original movie, but apparently it's not. All right, from the worst DreamWorks movie, we go to one of the best, and that is Kung Fu Panda 4, as a matter of fact. So now, this is probably the weakest out of all four of the Kung Fu Panda movies. It's probably my least favorite of the Kung Fu Panda movies as well, but it's still just as good as the other three Kung Fu Panda movies. So it definitely deserves a spot in best of the best. And I feel like the reason why this movie wasn't well received is because the Furious Five were not in this movie. And if they do decide to do a fifth Kung Fu Panda film, I dear hope they bring the Furious Five back front and center with Poe, like they have done in the previous three movies. I would say probably like my favorite aspect of this movie is we get to see Tai Lung, Lord Shan, and Kai, the villain from Kung Fu Panda 3, come back in this movie as like a little cameo, as a matter of fact. I really do like the Chameleon as a villain. She's probably the weakest villain in the entire out of all the villains we have gotten in the Kung Fu Panda franchise. So that's also another reason on why it's the weakest out of all of the Kung Fu Panda movies. But like I said, with the Kung Fu Panda movies, I feel like they have not done a single bad movie at all whatsoever, and this movie is very well deserved, no matter if it's the worst Kung Fu Panda movie or not. Ooh, next up on our list we have The Wild Robot. Stunning animation. I can't quite put this movie in best to the best, just because all the movies that I have in best to the best, I actually have a lot of nostalgia to, as a matter of fact. But I'm going to stick it right behind the bad guys on the great tier, because I like the bad guys a little bit more, just because I have more fun with the bad guys. But The Wild Robot is a great movie, but I can't quite put it like on the god tier level. But the Wild Robot has gorgeous animation. It has a great emotional story. As a matter of fact, I think this movie has very good character arc. The characters are well developed. I love the story that they came up with in this movie. Like, I had this as an honorable mention for my top 10 favorite movies of 2024. I wanted to put it higher than I did, but I didn't end up putting it up as high. But still, The Wild Robot is a great movie. The animation is stunning. It deserves a lot of credit, and that's what I did. It's not quite on the god tier for me, but it deserves a lot of praise, and it deserves to be put high up on the great tier, as a matter of fact. Last but not least, we have Dogman. So now when I found this tier list, I actually did that tier specifically for this movie because it is not out yet. At least the time that I'm recording this video. It probably is already out right now. I can't remember if it was like, if it comes out this Friday or the Friday next week, or if it came out last week. It was one of the two, as a matter of fact. I should have looked up the name before. I should have looked up when it came out for this before I started this video. But as far as I'm aware, it is not out yet. But I do apologize if I am incorrect, though. As a matter of fact, you can correct me down in the comment section, as a matter of fact. But yeah, Dogman is kind of like the Captain Underpants books. I never read any of the Dogman books, but personally, it's on the borderlines with the Captain Underpants movies. And even though I haven't read any of the Dogman books, I am super anxious to see this movie, as a matter of fact, to see what it is, as a matter of fact. But phew, guys, this was a very long video to do, as a matter of fact, because DreamWorks Animation Studios has almost made 50 whole animated movies, as a matter of fact, and I cannot wait to see Dogman, as a matter of fact. And I know after the decade is over, we're gonna get more DreamWorks movies, because DreamWorks has been like Disney. They've been putting at least one movie out every year so far this decade, as a matter of fact. And a lot of these movies are good. There's very few of them that I truly dislike, as a matter of fact. But so yeah, guys, that does it for this video. Let me know down in the comment section, what is your favorite DreamWorks movie and which one is your least favorite, as a matter of fact. I know I'm going to get harassed and eviscerated in the comment section for putting Monsters vs. Aliens at the top and as my favorite of the DreamWorks movies, as a matter of fact. But so yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up this video. Be sure you hit that red subscribe button, but most importantly, make sure you press the notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And those of you guys, and I do more than just movies and physical media related content. Sorry, guys, I stutter a lot. I'm still trying to get used to my new intro, but I do more than just movies and physical media related content. I also do Lego related stuff, and I play video games. So if you guys like to watch anything like that on YouTube and want to show your love and support, go check out my channel, because there will definitely be something in there for you to enjoy, as a matter of fact, guys. But without any further ado, guys, I'm going to go get ready back to more videos, because more videos are on the way. sooner rather than later, as a matter of fact, guys. But with that said, though, guys, take care, drink water, and stay safe, and I will see you all in the very next video. Bye!